Okay, so in honor of the Golden Globes, I wanted to dress as Sue for today's video. Okay, um, so I did end up watching Emilia Perez, and it's, I'd say it's exactly what I expected. Um, it's bad. Yeah, it's still bad. Stupid, the La Vaginoplastia song has been stuck in my head for like 3 days straight. So sorry, I'm reading off my phone because I forbore. Sorry, I don't have a good memory. I took notes, and so some major takeaways I had after watching the film is, at least I will give the film this, okay? It does have that so bad it's good factor. So at least it's not like other movies that are so boring that I can't even sit through it. So I could at least watch it. At least it was funny, and but yeah. And then my second note that I had is that I didn't really find that there was any reason whatsoever for Emilia Perez to be a musical, but except for the fact that the director Jacques Audenard is like wrote an opera first and then made it into a musical, because none of the characters ever felt like they needed to start singing. None of the songs felt warranted. I'll just say that. And I'm gonna compare it to Les Miserables, Les Mis, because they're kind of similar in a way. It's, I guess, the sort of like very dramatic type of operatic style musical. I think the only other thing I can think of to compare is maybe Rent, but I mean, I think Les Mis is more apt because it's a French musical. And oh yeah, also a lot of people don't know this, but Les Mis was originally written in French and then it was translated to English for Broadway. So again, it gives the movie no excuse to have the bad Spanish that it does, because Les Mis's musical is music is beautiful, and it's translated from a different language. So yeah, so I thought originally the characters Rita and Emilia would be enemies, and that Rita, the lawyer, would be chasing down Manitas and trying to find him, since he would be like the cartel boss, the enemy. And then it's like this dramatic reveal that you find out that Manitas has transitioned to Emilia. I thought that would be way more interesting, but that's what I thought the plot was originally, but no, it wasn't that. Rita is just the lawyer that's helping Emilia transition, and they're just friends. It's not established for any reason. They're just friends. And then my final note was, I was like, imagine if they had real, actually Latinos consult on this, and they made it like a telenovela. Because there's nothing wrong with being silly. I think as long as you're handling the material in, I guess the word would be like, in a careful way or in a considerate way, because it made me think of, well, there's lots of musicals that with deal with trans characters, but like I was thinking of Rocky Horror Picture Show. People love that musical, and it's very over the top. I think it could have worked, honestly, if they made a musical that was more silly and over the top, but I think I've seen other reviewers say that it just didn't commit to anything. So it's trying to be serious, it's trying to be silly, and it just doesn't fully commit to anything. Okay, so the movie starts, and this is really interesting. I wanted to note this down because you might not pick up on this if you don't speak French, but what's interesting is the credits are actually a lot of French studios, um, a lot of French as opposed to Spanish. So the first thing that I saw was the first thing that came up was Canal Plus, which is a big French streaming network, and I'll put it up here, but it's translated as the #1 cinematography partner in France. And then after that, there was another French cinema that was put up there, and it said we're sharing the love of cinema. I think it was like Nous partageons something. And then the French credits Région Île-de-France, which is the Paris region of France. Okay, so the musical opens, and it's the main character. I mean, they say the main character is Emilia Perez, but it's the main character Rito Castro, and basically she is a defense lawyer, so she's defending all these bad people, defending these criminals from the cartel, basically. And so there's an opening number about that, and it's not that good. It's just my notes say, "Why is this stage like a High School Musical, bro?" Yeah. So I think some people said they enjoyed the dancing. I didn't. It's a lot of the voicing or like the movements of dancing what you're saying. So it just reminded me of Dear Evan Hansen.
Field that's framed with trees, we pick a spot and shift the breeze.
Yeah, so it wasn't good. And okay, I changed seats because this was more comfortable, okay? Okay, so she's defending her case, and she wins the case that, so instead of saying the cartel killed this person, they're saying that they unalived themselves, and then she wins the case. And she asks another one of the, I don't know if she's another one of the lawyers or just someone in the crowd, but she asks if she has a tampon. And I wrote, oh, okay, feminism, I guess. So basically after that, she goes back to her office or to a phone booth or something, I can't remember. And then she gets a bag thrown over her head, and she gets taken to the unknown location. And so basically, you won't believe this. Oh, I hate this. Okay, you won't believe this. I'm just gonna use. I don't usually do this, but I'm gonna use. Or I don't do this, but the movie also isn't good with pronouns. But I'm just gonna say he when he's Manitas, and then she when she's Emilia. So so Rita meets Manitas, which is amazing that it's Manitas, like man, Itas, like get it, like man. I was like, this is so bad. It's interesting because it's the woman who plays Emilia, so she's in drag to be as a man. And I'll get into things with that don't really make sense. That's some things they do. But basically, after that, Rita has her like kind of I want song, I guess. But again, the motivations are not very clear. So, she's like singing about how she's conflicted because she's a defense lawyer and she's so busy and how hard it is to be a lawyer. And then this part, I just. So there's a frame, I'll put it up here, but there's a frame where she's surrounded by cleaning ladies, and they're all wearing pink. And I couldn't stop laughing because it reminded me of the cleaning lady from Family Guy.
Hola?
Yes, could you please put Brian back on?
No, doggy afuera.
You're the new housekeeper, aren't you?
Sí,
Listen, I don't want to point fingers, but I'm missing about $1,000 in play money.
I take.
What? You took it?
Sí,
Well, give it back.
come get, bitch.
Why did they choose to have her be surrounded by cleaning ladies for this musical number? Is it because they're Mexican, so they're cleaning ladies? And then I said I want to make a musical where a French man is surrounded by mimes and baguettes while singing about his law degree. Yeah, just imagine being surrounded by dancing mimes. And then I said the choreography is giving High School Musical production of Rent. And then one of the lines she says is, "I'm too busy to have babies," and I wrote r/men writing women because again, like, things are just kind of thrown in this movie. Like, no character has any clear motivations whatsoever. So I guess she wants children. It's not very clear. They don't make that clear. I think it's like, oh, she's a woman, so she must want children. Okay, like, but when you're writing the character, maybe add some background, add some motivation. I don't know. And then, yeah, the costume choice was bizarre. So they were like these cleaning ladies, and they were wearing these pink maid type outfits, and then they had like red and yellow gloves. And I said it's giving ketchup and mustard. Yeah, the costuming's not great in this movie either, which I don't expect much because the director is a man, but I was like, he's at least a French man, so you think, and it said I think in the credits it said Saint Laurent, but Saint Laurent probably is not the same thing as the designer brand. So then I believe she gets taken by the cartel again, and they have to put a bag on her head every single time. And I was like, the cartel is real, but what is this? Because it's just like, imagine the most stereotypical thing ever. Like, they're listening to Spanish rap music. they're all driving like SUVs with tinted windows. Like, just imagine what the whitest person ever thinks when they think of the cartel. Like, that's what it was. So she's back with Manitas, and I did say, first of all, the actress who plays Emilia she did a really good job. I really like her. I hope we'd see her in more things. But I did say I think she's really brave because I'm sure it gave her a ton of dysphoria to dress up as a man again, which I wonder if Jacques even, I feel like he probably didn't even consider that, honestly, but hopefully he did. I don't know. And then her catchphrase is bingo. I watched a Mexican American girl review this. I think I can link her channel when I remember it, but yeah, and she said that she's never heard anyone say bingo who speaks Spanish. Like, I don't know where they got that from. And then there's sort of like an aside, like Manitas, he starts sort of like rapping and rapping about his motivation and why he wants to transition. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of comes out of nowhere. And then one thing I didn't like is that, so he said, and maybe this is just a subtitles thing, but he said he wants to become a woman. And I thought, a trans woman would probably say, I am a woman, or I've always been one. I'm just trying to, have my body match the soul, that sort of thing. But he's just like, yeah, I want to become a woman. So it's kind of confusing. It's like, oh, do you really want to, or you're just trying to hide your identity, or it's not clear. And then I don't like this either. So then he's like, oh, I've been on hormones for like 2 years, which again, it doesn't make sense to me because at this point Manitas has like a full beard, and I think the director wanted to do that just to make the transformation into Emilia extremely dramatic. But to me, it didn't make sense logistically, because if someone's been on hormone therapy for 2 years, I mean, you usually would take estrogen with the testosterone blockers. So if someone's on testosterone blockers for 2 years, I don't think they're going to be able to grow a full beard. So I think that was just to be like, whoa, it was this actress in drag, what? Like, I think it's to be like, whoa, look at this crazy transformation. So they're not really thinking about, like, the actual, if it actually makes sense. And then he's like, I've been on hormones for 2 years, so he unzips his unzips his jacket to show Rita that he has breasts because because I don't know.
Okay. 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 Okay.
I don't know. Let's just sexualize trans women, I guess, because as we all know, trans women love to flash people. Yes, I said the thing about the... Yeah, and I also said something where it's like, I mean, usually people, if they're transitioning, they like to test things out, so I don't think realistically someone would go from being this macho man to this extremely feminine woman just by getting plastic surgery. But I mean, again, everyone's different, but I didn't find that realistic. It just felt like it was more for show, like more to be like, wow, get like a wow reaction from the audience. Okay. So you think so everyone online is talking about the the very nice to meet you, I'd like to talk about sex change operation song, and that's like not even that far into the movie. I think it's like 20 minutes in. She's just like, okay, so she's getting money to sex change operation, so she's going around looking, and then she flies. I don't know if I wasn't paying attention or what, but she flies to Bangkok to talk to doctors about sex change operations. I don't know why she didn't just Google this information. Why did she fly all the way to Thailand if unless Emilia was gonna go there, but why wouldn't Emilia just fly herself? I don't know. So I just wrote, like, who is this for? Like, who is this for? Like,
You to choke me. This seems like a private moment. I want you to choke me. Like, who is this for? I want you to choke me while I jerk off.
people who like music theater aren't gonna be listening to it because it's not a good song. And then, yeah, it was like, who is bumping La Vaginoplastia on their car radio?
Penis to vagina. Is it for you?
And like the intro gave me Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory, so I was like, what? The intro was giving Willy Wonka. And then I also said I think this is what people who don't like the substance thinks that the substance is. Like, it's just over the top for no reason. I feel like that's what people are like, oh, the substance is just over the top, but there's no meaning. But like clearly Coralie Ferragier like thought about what she was gonna do. But there's no there's no thought that went into this. And then I just wrote, oh god, it's the penis vagina song. And I was like, why are they singing about this? So yeah, it frustrated me because there's a rule in music theater that when a character is too passionate to talk, they sing, and then when the character is too passionate to sing, they start dancing. And I'm like, what is this doctor? Why is he so passionate about this? Why are they singing about this? What would you like to know about it, madam? I see. Man to woman, or woman to man. From penis to vagina. He's not an important character. You never see him again. So why is this even a musical number? I was thinking, I mean, I like to compare it to Les Mis, of course. If you've seen Les Mis, it is sort of like that. It reminds me a lot of Master of the House song, and I was listening to it last night. And first of all, that song's actually catchy, which is nice. But also, it's like oh, it's a silly song. It's fun. It's silly. But at least it actually serves like purpose in Les Mis because it's introducing the audience to the people that to the innkeeper and his wife that are I think it's the Terriers. I don't remember the name, but it's they're going to take care of Cosette, and it gives a backstory as to who these people are and what Cosette's childhood was like. So even though it is sort of a silly song, there's a meaning to it. I can't find a reason for them to be singing about this. Are like, I guess the doctor he just really likes his job. I don't know why he's singing about this so much and why he's so happy to sing about it. Again, and then and then there's the part where he's like, where it's like, I don't remember what it's called, but it's like the Adam's apple reduction. And she's like, yes, yes, yes. I was like, why are you so excited about that? Okay. Um, and then also this, it was just really creepy. Like, I don't know what the intention was supposed to be, but it was filmed like a horror film. Like, there were flickering lights. Um, yeah, I thought it was giving Stranger Things because it was, and then there were like all these women with like masks on their face of like when you get rhinoplasty, and they were all just like smiling really creepily. I don't know what the intention was with that. Um, and again, Manitas kidnaps Rita again. Every time he talks to her, he kidnaps her and puts a bag over her head because she can't know about the secret cartel location. Um, and then I think so she goes to meet um, with a doctor in Tel Aviv. And then this is also a really memed on scene in social media. A lot of people know this scene. So she's like trying to ask the doctor in Tel Aviv for a sex change for Manitas, but then it's really confusing because they were using the wrong pronouns. They kept saying he, and I was confused because I was like, if someone started hormone therapy, you would say she, her, right? So I'm not sure why they kept saying he. And some of the really good lines is, if he's the wolf, you'll be the sheep. Change ID, changing the soul, changes society. And Rita says, you don't know what it's like to be a queen. Yeah, so she brings the doctor from Tel Aviv to meet. Oh, yeah, because he says he's not going to do the surgery unless he meets Manita. So she brings the doctor from Tel Aviv to Mexico. It's France, but Mexico. And again, the cartel is like parody level. Like, to be fair, I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't know a lot about Mexican culture, but the cartel is just like, it's embarrassing. It's really bad. It's a really bad stereotype. Because he just gets into the SUVs with the tinted windows and they start playing really loud Spanish rap, and then the doctor's like, I had a good time except for this shitty music. And then oh yeah, and then Selena Gomez is there, and she's like, yo soy so she's like, yo soy son mujer. Or no, not even with an accent. She's like, yo soy son mujer. So I don't know what it is. But she doesn't really even try with a Spanish accent. And I know there's been a lot of feedback on her acting getting more stiff, and I think her acting is fine. I think her acting isn't actually bad in this movie. It's just the Spanish pronunciation is not good. And also, I believe she's diagnosed with lupus, and I have autoimmune diseases as well. I have celiac, so I'm not gonna say like I'm not gonna say if her acting is too stiff or not, because at the end of the day you can't control if you have an autoimmune disease. I did say she looks really out of place, though, in the scene. Yeah, I did say I feel bad for Manitas, but again, he's a cartel leader. An evil person. Being trans is an entirely different struggle, so I don't think that if you want to have an evil character, you can't just, like, be like, oh, if we transition them, then it's fine, okay. And then again, I said, imagine this in the style of a telenovela with real Mexican actors. They should have made it even more crazy. If they were going to do this, they should have committed. Because I mean, if you think about the whole plot of this movie, it literally sounds like a telenovela. Like, you have, like, the cartel leader transitioning into a woman. Like, that could have been handled really well by someone from the Latin American community, I feel like. Or someone Latino, I think. But no, we have to have Jacques Couture. And then, so I think this is this part where Manitos has his I Want song, which just comes out of nowhere because it's just him and Rita sitting in the car, and he just starts singing about, his reasonings for wanting to transition. And then again, I compared it to Les Mis because I was like, think about what happens in Les Mis that makes those characters want to sing. Like, really bad stuff happens to them, and so of course they have no other choice but to start singing about it because they're in so much pain, they're so sad. What happened? Nothing happens that makes these characters want to sing. They just sing because they have to. They just start singing because it's a musical. There's no reason for these characters to start singing. So Selena Gomez's character, her name is Jessie. And so basically, in order for Manitas to transition safely, his family needs to be disappeared. So they end up getting put in. I said France. Apparently, it was Switzerland. So I was like, that's why she's crying. The worst fate. I would cry if I ended up in France too. And then yeah, they reveal her name is Jessie, like Jessie from the hit Disney show Hey Jessie. And then there was one line where she was like, why can't we go to my sisters in the States? Like, that was the thing. They'd have her just, like, randomly speaking English. And it didn't feel natural to me. Like, if you speak two languages, you would kind of, I don't know, I'm not sure what they call it in Mexico. But if it's called, like, in French, it's called franglais. So, like, you speak, like, kind of some French and some English at the same time. So the way they wrote her character is just, like, completely unrealistic, right? Because she's supposed to be from, I think she's supposed to be from the US, like, from the border, and then she ends up going to Mexico, so she's, like, technically American, but she doesn't even have an accent when she speaks English, but then she speaks, like, horrible Spanish, so it really makes no sense at all. So then Manitas transitions to Emilia, and then it's very bizarre. The filming is very bizarre. Like, it's filmed like a horror movie. Like he's turning into a werewolf or something. Like, they have her all bandaged up from head to toe, and it feels like a horror movie. It's very weird how they're framing this. What's supposed to be like, it's supposed to be a pro-trans movie, right? But they're making it seem like weird. I don't know. And then it pans down. So she's just, like, looking at herself, like, because she's, like, fully a woman now, and she has a mirror. And she just takes it and looks all the way down and looks at her vagina. So I was like, only a French pervy man could come up with this, like, again, just, like, the random sexualization of trans women. And then, like, there's no, like, you think, oh, it'd be, like, an interesting movie to see, like, I mean, because the toxic masculinity in a cartel has got to be awful, so it'd be, like, such an interesting movie to see, like, the internal strife that character would be put through. But nah, we don't need that. They just fast forward 4 years and she's just Emilia now, so she literally just transitions from Manitas to Emilia, and it's fine. They don't even talk. It's like, they just glance. There's really no reason for the cartel leader thing except to be like, whoa, what a crazy idea, but they don't actually, like, do anything with it. Oh, and, and then this scene is like, this scene is really memed on too. It's 4 years later, and then they're in London, and then there's this. Then Rita's with her friends, and there's this. I said called him a chronically British guy, and he's like, "What's the dirty your Maxwell?" And then, and then, so Emilia looks at Rita, and then she's like, "Are you English? Because you're so pretty." And she's like, "No, I'm Mexican."
I'm lesbian.
I thought you were American.
And then, of course, the French director made them. And then she asks her if she misses Mexico. And she's like, "No, I don't miss Mexico. I like to travel." And I'm like, of course, the French director makes these Mexican characters not miss their home country, of course. And then Emilia says bingo again, her catchphrase. That makes no sense. Yeah. And then and then she realizes that Emilia is Manitas, and then she starts singing about it. And I said, is it only a musical because it's based on an opera? Because there's no reason for them to sing at all. And then there was one shot where the camera pans up to reveal that Emilia is wearing a grill, like from when she was Manitas, and that was one of the two shots I liked. And I said, I want to make a movie that's set in France, and they're all smoking cigarettes and singing. Yeah, and then, so just, like, immediately, she was an evil cartel leader, and then she's just, like, a nice lady, like, immediately. Like, there's no backstory, no proper transition. Like, she just goes from a cartel leader to, like, this pretty lady immediately. Like, that's it. And so she goes back to Mexico, and then, oh yeah, so she wants Rita's help because she misses her kids, and she wants to bring her kids back to Mexico. So she's living in Mexico City now in this, like, big fancy house. And there's maids and servants everywhere, which I don't like that they glance over. I was like, not the servants. What is this, Downton Abbey? Yeah, like, I don't get. They just glance over this. I mean, the cartel leader is using money that's made by people dying to get servants and get maids in their house. They just kind of glance over that, like it's not important. Okay. And I said the actress's personality shines through, but again, it doesn't really fit the character at all. And so Selena Gomez, this is her song where she just, like, starts, like, chanting, and it doesn't even sound like, it just sounds like gibberish. Bienvenida a tu país amado bonita, a tu la cárcel primita, donde todo es cara encanta, y gracias a la familia, bienvenida. Si amable, saluda izquierda, a tu dia matrona, Emilia. It sounds like that, what's that TikTok where they're like, las brujas.
Escucha las palabras de las brujas, los secretos escondidos en la noche, los antiguos dioses invocamos ahora.
That, it sounds like that. And she's filming herself while she's singing. Oh, the song is Bienvenida. It was like, welcome back to Mexico. She's unhappy that she has to go to Mexico because, this plot I'll talk about. This plot makes me angry. She doesn't realize that Emilia is Manita, so she thinks that Emilia is their aunt, so she just is upset to be back in Mexico. I said, okay, Selena, give us nothing. And then she also said, I'll just cut to the chase, which is such an unnatural phrase for someone to say. I don't think anyone would ever say that. And then they're living in this rich bitch, and I said, sorry, I still say eat the rich, even if she's trans, because at the end of the day, I hate rich people. Yeah, and Emilia literally has no character motivation at all. And of course, we have the yellow filter because it's Mexico, so you need the yellow filter. And so then the next song we have is the sun. Oh yeah, so the sons come to Mexico. They think that Emilia is their aunt because they think that Manitas is dead. So there's a song where the son is singing about how Emilia smells like how Papa used to smell. And someone else pointed out this in the comments of a review I saw, but apparently hormones do change how the person smells, so it might not even be true. And there's a lot of I say problematic lines. So he says Papa used to smell like guacamole, and I was like, when is he gonna put on a sombrero next? Like, okay, like Papa used to smell like guacamole. Yeah. And also another thing is the actress who plays Emilia is not even Mexican. She's Spanish from Spain. So I was like, I think they filmed all in Europe. So I was like, why couldn't they get more Spanish actors from Spain at least? I mean, it's not like she would know anything about cartel violence. Like the the closest to Mexico she was growing up was probably like a 7-hour plane ride. I mean, she does her best, but okay. So then Emilia is oh yeah, also Emilia and Rita are friends. I don't know why. They just kind of are. It just happens. So they start a charity called La Lucita that helps disappeared families from the cartel violence. And there's this song that like here's another thing, right? I speak French and I'm learning Spanish, but I've only been doing like 6 or 7 months on Duolingo, and I could understand a lot of the things people were saying. And I was like, if I can understand and I barely speak Spanish, like that's how you know it's like baby Spanish, because I never understand the French in movies like when they're talking. But yeah, so there's a song about the victims, the families from the cartel violence, and it's called Aquí estoy, like I am here. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know a lot about Spanish, but that just sounded weird for me. It just sounded kind of like babyish, I guess. And then there was this one shot I really didn't like where it was everyone's like head, and I'll put it up here. But it was like it was everyone's head, and it looked like an actual high school yearbook photo. I did not understand. And so then Selena Gomez, it turns out, so she's actually like the villain of this movie, and it kind of took me a while to understand that because she just doesn't act like a villain at all. But basically she's in love with this guy named Gustavo.
Hello, and welcome to the Los Pollos Hermanos family. My name is Gustavo, but you can call me Gus.
And he has a cowboy hat. I thought it was a sombrero at first. I really thought it was going to be a sombrero. Yeah, so she's in love with him, so she is I guess technically cheating. I don't know if it's cheating because she thinks Banditas is dead. Oh yeah, okay, so then there's like a conflict because kind of I said there's no plot because there isn't, but like there's a scene where Emilia is like talking about her charity, and then Rita's like starts singing this song, but it's kind of a rap song. So he said, "Okay, Lin-Manuel Miranda," and it's just like habla. Yeah, so she's singing about how like she's doing the charity, but then she was in the cartel, so she's a hypocrite basically. Okay, but again, never does anything about it. And then I said, why is this even taking place in Mexico besides the cartel violence? Like it makes no difference. Like this movie could take place anywhere. It doesn't really matter. so then Emilia meets this woman through her charity, and they become girlfriends, I guess. I said, okay, lesbians. And the one song where they were singing, like, really sounded like I Love You, Joanna from Sweeney Todd, so... Oh, yeah, so then, okay, so we get towards the end of the movie, and this is so dumb, right? This is the dumbest plot twist ever, so... Basically, Yessie did not recognize her ex-husband, so she didn't realize that Emilia was Manitas, which I just find so unbelievable. Like, just because she's a woman now, you wouldn't be able to recognize your ex-husband? Like, it makes no sense to me. It makes no sense, but basically she doesn't recognize Manitas, so she's in love with Gustavo, the mustached cowboy guy, so she wants to take the kids and run away with Gustavo. Yeah, and I said so Emilia gets really angry because she doesn't want her kids to be taken away. And I said she loves her kids, that's good, I guess. But what did she do as a cartel boss? This is never talked about. Why did she want to transition? What is the motivation for anything in this movie? Oh, and then... okay, so then, so Emilia comes home and her kids are gone and she's really angry, so she calls Rita. And then they have this amazing, amazing song with this split screen, and it just reminds me of Mean Girls. And I said, okay, Regina, split screen. Regina George split screen. It just reminded me of that scene where she's like, boo, you whore, and then like hangs up. Like, that's what it reminded me of.
I can't go out. I'm sick. Boo, you whore.
Yeah, and I said, if there's gonna be a lesbian lover, why not just make it Rita? Because I think that would be like a way more interesting movie. Like, enemies to lovers. Like, if they hated each other because, you know, one's on the side of good and there's this evil ex-cartel leader. I don't know if that'd be like a lot more interesting, and they already established that Emilia is a lesbian, so I don't understand why they didn't do that, because that would actually be a plot. Oh, and then there's this shot where, like, oh, okay, so Gustavo, he kidnaps Emilia, and then there's this shot of Emilia's girlfriend looking out the window, like, and it's a throwback to an earlier shot of Emilia looking out the window, and I was like, wow, okay, we get it. And so, Rita gets this bag from Gustavo and the kidnappers, and I think it looks like a dog poop bag, but it's supposed to be intimidating, it's supposed to be scary, but so she opens the bag, and it's like, oh, sorry, it's supposed to be sad, she opens the bag, and it's 2 of Emilia's fingers, so the cartel, or not cartel, I don't know if they are, but Gustavo cut off Emilia's fingers. So I said, not gonna lie, I was hungry, I was hoping it was a quesadilla. Yeah, so Selena Gomez was the villain somehow. I said, why is she even friends or invested with this? I don't know, I know I'm not. And then there was like a shootout, so Rita goes to the location where Emilia is or something, and then there's a shootout, but the sound mixing was weird. It was like not loud at all. I wrote gunfire ASMR because it just like, what, I don't know, it didn't sound mixed right to me or something. So then there's the shootout, and Emilia gets shot as she's dying. But then no, she's like, oh, she gasps and she's awake again. So then she has to sing a song. She has to sing a song about how she met Yessie in high school, and she knew her since high school. And Yessie was like, wait, how do you know this stuff? And then she's like, Manitas? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, why would you not recognize your own husband? Just because of boobs? Like, you don't recognize anymore? I don't know. So then she's like, oh no, what did I do? oh, your manitas, oh no. But it's too late because Gustavo takes Emilia and throws her in the back of the truck and they start driving. And she takes a gun and she tries to fire at Gustavo because she's like, it's Manitas! Manitas is in the back. And I was like, okay, the one shot of Selena Gomez with the gun did look kind of cool, but that's it. And so because she's firing the gun at Gustavo, he loses control of the car goes off a cliff, and the car blows up, and I just started laughing, like,
Worse! It'll go right to your thighs!
My thighs?
And then you blow up!
And then Rita's there, and she's looking at this. And basically, so Rita takes care of the kids now, I guess, and, Emilia becomes a saint after that, and they sing a song about how she used to be a cartel leader, and now she's a saint, and there's a statue of her, and I said, is it cake moment, because it really looked like a cake. And when the car blew up, it reminded me of that Vine with the guy where he's like, I'm gonna blow up and act like I don't know nobody.
Main goal is to blow up and then act like I don't know nobody.
Yeah, so I said this, so I finished the movie, and I said, this is definitely one of the movies of all time. I need to see it 1 more billion times more. Yeah. So I thought it would be funny to have a little secret video at the end. So I thought I would make this video just for Jacques Audunard, because I thought, maybe it would be interesting for him to see a movie like this from portraying his culture in a stereotypical way. Let's see how he likes it.
J'ai changé mon identité pendant longtemps de Chris. Une femme transgenre.
Bah, va te faire foutre. Tout le monde s'en fiche.
Et je suis content, mais en même temps, je suis triste.
Nous sommes tristes.
Une baguette pour mon tristesse. Hein, les gens? Pourquoi est-ce qu'il y a un vengeant masculin? Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? Le corps change l'esprit et l'esprit change le corps.
Bah ouais, mais aussi, bah non.